Hello and welcome to another how-to video with the Kurzweil K27. In this video, we're going to have a look at some interesting shortcuts and perhaps some lesser known tricks that you can use on the keyboard. These are some of the features that I find to be the most useful on a regular basis. These may be subtle, but they can heavily impact your workflow. So let's begin. First up is going to be the intuitive entry feature, definitely the most often used shortcut. This feature is going to allow you to select and assign controller values with the touch of a single button. This can be done by pressing and holding the enter button on the keypad here, and then acting on the physical controller you're trying to assign. Let me show you how this works in action. I'm going to enter edit mode here on this factory synth patch. So let's say you're trying to assign the mod wheel to work on the filter's frequency here. You can simply hold the enter button while you're in the value box, and then move the mod wheel slightly. And just like that, with one easy step, you've assigned the mod wheel to act on the filter. Similarly, say you want to assign one of these knobs to the filter resonance value, simply go to the value box, press and hold the enter button, and then move the knob you want. Not only does this work on all of these controllers you have, like knobs, sliders, and even the drum pads, you can also use the intuitive entry feature on the actual keyboard by itself. Let me show you how that works. Let's say you're in multi-mode and trying to set the range for your zones. You can navigate to the low and high point boxes, simply hold the enter button, and then strike the key you want to assign. And just like that, you're able to set the low and high points for the zone. With the large number of physical controllers that we have, you're going to find yourself relying on intuitive entry quite heavily, especially as we get deeper into the world of programming using the vast engine. Next, another useful shortcut to find the sounds you're looking for quickly is to use the search page, where you can type in keywords and display all the programs containing that keyword. To access the string search feature, press and hold down the enter button, and at the same time, press any of the numeric keys on the keypad. You're now going to be on the search page. Now let's say I'm looking for a warm pad sound. I'm going to type in the word warm using the alphabets on the keypad. When you're done typing, you want to press OK. The second you do that, the first sound in the entire sound bank with the word warm in its name gets selected. If I want to move down the list of all the programs with the word warm in its name, I can hold the enter button and at the same time use the next or previous keys to navigate this list. As I'm doing this, I'm able to select only the programs with the keyword. With the sheer volume of sounds you have in the Kurzweil sound bank, this feature can be extremely useful to find specific sounds really quickly. An amazing thing about this search feature is that you can use it not only for programs, but also to look up multis, effects, songs, and so on. Let me show you how easy it is to call up an effects chain. By the way, I'm going to be in program mode for this, but these search commands can be applied in any of the modes. So let me get into the effects section here when I'm in edit mode. I'm going to follow the exact same steps here. So hold enter and press any of the numeric keys. So let's say I'm looking for a distortion sound. I'm going to type in my keyword, click OK, and there we have it. Just like the previous example, I can skim through the list by holding enter and using the next and previous buttons. Another quick example without actually talking you through it. Say I'm in song mode and I'm looking for rock tracks. Here's what the search feature would look like in action. Another useful shortcut is pressing soft buttons 3 and 4. These are going to be right below the screen here. This command brings up the global tools page. These pages have some important diagnostic features. For example, on the MIDI out page, you can see all MIDI messages coming out of your K27 in real time. This includes note on and off messages, velocity values for each key, controller messages, and basically everything MIDI. This can be useful both as a troubleshooting feature and to make sure your MIDI setup is working as desired. Similarly, the MIDI in page monitors incoming messages. The voices page gives you a rundown of the presently active voice channels, and the state page lets you view the values for all MIDI CC controls. Now for some other basic double button shortcuts. Pressing the plus and minus transpose buttons would reset your transposition setting and bring you back to a regular keypad. This next one applies to edit mode. Say you're going through all of your layers in a program. You can press the up and down channel zone track buttons together here, which are normally used to navigate through different layers, and just like that, you're back to layer 1. The same shortcut also applies to multi-mode. Say you're going through all of your zones when you're editing a multi. You can simply push these buttons together, and just like that, you're back to zone 1. While we're on the subject of multis, here's another workflow tip that never gets talked about enough. This is going to be the import feature. Let me show you what that is. So let's select the first multi here. I'm going to go into edit mode and go to the tools page. And as you might know, this is the page where you normally come to perform zone operations such as creating a new zone, duplicating a zone, or even deleting a zone. So the hack here is that you can use this import feature to bring in any zone from an existing multi into this one. So select import zone, navigate to the multi you're looking for, select the zone you want, and just click import. By the way, you can also import pad controller settings from an existing multi. So you can select the multi and the specific zone from where you want to pull these settings. We also have another similar import feature for the pads. So you can copy the pad settings from the program you've got selected and use it for the multi. Some other more obvious but equally useful shortcuts are going to be here in the mode section by the screen. These are going to be useful when you're working in edit mode, and this goes for programs and multis. The first one, which is the program button, solos the active layer. Right below that, the multi button mutes the active layer. Moving down, the song button is going to bypass all of your effects processing, and lastly the global button, which is going to be a compare switch. This compare switch is going to allow you to do an A/B comparison between the unedited program and the version you have with all the edits you've made so far. And of course, given that Kurzweil programs can be 32 layers deep, all of these shortcuts along with intuitive entry are absolute essentials. You also have a couple of multi-button shortcuts on the keypad here. The one used most often would probably be the MIDI panic switch, which turns off all note and controller messages across all MIDI channels. The panic button would be a combination of pressing the keypad and enter buttons. Pressing the 0 and keypad buttons together would play a demo of the sound you've got selected. Similarly, pressing user and 0 would play back a demo for the song that's been selected. We also have some other useful single-touch commands that have to do with default controller assignments. These are going to be uniform across most programs. These are mainly the sliders, knobs, and switches which have been auto-assigned based on some really handy operations. For example, you'll find that sliders 3 and 4 usually control the attack and release time values for the program. Switch 8 is going to be a default factory assignment for turning on delay, and switch 9 for reverb. Sliders 8 and 9 control the amount of delay and the amount of reverb respectively. Right above that, knobs 8 and 9 are going to be controlling delay time and reverb time. Knobs 1 through 4 act as an EQ. This EQ can usually be toggled on and off using switch number 1. The default for slider 1 is usually going to be filter cutoff and filter resonance for slider 2. These basic default operations can of course be customized, but having a uniform pattern of defaults makes it extremely convenient to make simple edits on the go without actually going into edit mode. Also remember, these defaults mainly apply to sounds in program mode. Moving on, switch 2 defaults to presence, which gives you a strong but musical treble boost. This is really helpful in making your program stand out in the mix. Switch number 3 turns on impact, which adds an aggressive punch or sharp gain boost to the attack envelope. Switch 4 is going to give you the freeze option. This is almost like the center pedal on a piano. So if you play a set of notes and then hit the freeze button, only the notes you played remain sustained or frozen until you physically toggle the switch off. These notes are not affected by releasing the keys or any sustain pedal action. Switch 5 usually defaults to motion, which gives you this panning tremolo effect. Slider 5 controls the amount of motion, and knob 5 controls the speed of the effect. The default assignment of switches 6 and 7 are going to vary, but these are usually assigned to some kind of effects processing. This might include a chorus, phaser, flanger, or a similar effect. Again, the sliders are going to act as a dry-wet control, and the knobs for intensity. In the piano patches specifically, switch 6 and slider 6 usually control what's called string resonance. This is basically a physical modeling of the resonances made by an actual acoustic piano strings. So switch 6 is going to be an on-off control, and the slider blends the piano signal with the amount of resonant signal. Right above that, knob 6 is going to control the decay value for the string resonance. While the main use for these controllers is to customize them fully, these highly intuitive and wide-ranging defaults are really helpful in time saving, especially in a performance setting. These shortcuts and workflow defaults are just some of the many ways to make your programming journey easier. As you get deeper into the world of Vast and start applying these to your own workflow, you'll find that these seemingly simple and obvious cues become a staple in your programming toolbox. Hopefully you can try some of these out for yourself. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.